So what states sell tax lien certificates? So be sure to stay on till the end of this video, because in this video, I'm going to give you an opportunity to get a list that I put together for you of all the states that sell tax lien certificates. Plus, I'm going to give you a chance to see a Spill the Guts video where the world's foremost expert in something called over-the-counter certificates spilled his guts, gave out the secrets, and it's yours here for free just for watching this video. Tax lien certificates are the right to collect the taxes, the penalties, and the interest if and when the property owner pays them. And most of the time, as long as you do your job properly, the person is going to pay the taxes, penalties, and interest, and you can get insanely high interest rates on these things. The most profitable state has 50% interest rate. 50%, can you imagine? And stay on to the end, because I'll tell you what that state is and how that works, because it's a little different than most other states. But these interest rates are routinely 10, 15, 20% all over the country. And most importantly, this is backed by real estate. And as long as you do your job properly, you're pretty much guaranteed to be paid. So here's the way that it works. When someone doesn't pay their real estate tax bill, the county kind of panics because they need that money. They need it to pay the teachers, the firefighters, fill the potholes, collect the trash, do all the things that a county government does, which are something people really feel, because if they don't collect the trash, man, you're going to be overrun by rats. So believe me, everybody up in arms about it. So they have to provide those services, and they have very limited power to borrow. They can't print money like the federal government can, so they have to collect that money. So what some counties do is they'll say, well, look, we had these homeowners that didn't pay their taxes. What do? We need this money. And so what they'll say is, I know, we'll sell the right to collect the taxes when and if they're paid if someone will give us the tax money now. And so they'll say to you as a member of the public, hey, if you'll pay these taxes, when and if they pay, you can get the taxes plus the penalties and interest. Just give us the money up front. And in exchange, we'll give you crazy high interest rates. And again, 10, 15, 20%, and more, even as high as 50%. And so a lot of investors say, oh, I'm in. How do I do that? How do I get these things? So what happens is they'll hold auctions where you can buy the tax lien, which gives you the right to collect the money if and when it's paid. And most of the time, this money is going to be paid, because if the owner doesn't pay those taxes, then one of two things is going to happen. Number one, they're just going to give the property to the person that owns the tax lien. That would be for Illinois, for example. In Illinois, if you don't pay those taxes, the county government will literally deed the property to the person that paid a year's worth of taxes, which is just crazy. And so what happens process-wise, person doesn't pay the taxes, there's a foreclosure process, which is pretty simple, and then the holder of the tax lien will get the taxes. Now, it does get a little more complicated than that. I'm not going to go in depth on this particular video. I've done that in other videos. Just look for my video on how tax liens work in Illinois, for example, and you can see that. But essentially what happens is you'll pay the tax lien that you bought plus subsequent years' taxes. So if they had, say, example, 3 years to pay your taxes, you'd pay those subsequent 2 years worth of taxes, and then you'd get the property. So if you think about it, taxes are generally a little less than 2% of the property value per year. So you're getting the property for 3 years worth of taxes, which would be about 6% of the value. I don't know where else you can get a property at 94% off. Pretty amazing. So that's some states like Illinois and a couple others. The second system is a tax deed system, which would be in Florida, for example, where what happens is you hold the tax lien. If they don't pay you off, then the county puts the property up for public auction, and then a bidder comes in, buys the property, and that money is used to pay you off with your taxes that you paid, plus penalties, plus interest. And again, these interest rates are always high. They're never low, because the county doesn't care. They're not paying it, and they want to make sure they attract bidders. So they offer these crazy high interest rates. Some really good features about this is that, first of all, the payment is pretty much guaranteed as long as your tax lien is against a really good property. And I'll talk in a minute about that. But so number one, it's pretty much guaranteed payment as long as you do your job of due diligence. The second thing is that you don't have to do anything. You're not the one that sends out nasty collection letters or files nasty collection lawsuits or anything like that. You don't let people calling you and say, oh, please, please reduce my interest rate or don't make me pay all those penalties, because they're not talking to you. They're talking to the government bureaucrat tax collector. And when they go down to the tax collector's office, tax collectors say, look, we need certified check or other certified funds, and here's your bill. And I can't negotiate with you. The state sets the interest rate, so you got to pay the money. And when the person does pay the money, which they'll do to keep their house, then in the background, the tax collector is passing the money off to you, which includes the principal that's due, plus the interest and plus the penalties. So really high money, and you don't have to deal with anything. But what's really important is that you do your due diligence. You need to make sure that the tax lien is against a desirable property, because either you're going to get the property in some states like Illinois, or they're going to offer the property to a third party at an auction, and it better be an attractive property to get bid on. So you look for properties that have houses on them that are in use. Those are the things that are going to get redeemed, or if they have to sell it, it's going to go for a good price and you'll get your money. So make sure you're not buying liens against useless properties, because they sell liens against any unpaid taxes, and sometimes they are useless properties. They can be little strips of land that nobody has any use for, but maybe it's a surveyor's error where they just didn't join two lots together. They left a little gap, and that property doesn't get the taxes paid, and they'll sell a 3-foot wide strip of land which was meant for pipeline to go under that never happened. So you want to make sure that you're checking out the properties in advance. I've done other videos about that on my channel. You can just search for doing due diligence on tax sale properties and learn more about that. But for the purpose of this, we're talking about what states sell tax liens. So what I'm going to do for you is at the bottom, there's a video where I interviewed the foremost expert in something called over-the-counter tax liens. These are absolutely the best of the best, no competition. You just pick through catalogs of liens, you can get the best ones, and it's the easiest and best way to buy. So I interviewed the world's foremost expert. I didn't spill his guts on over-the-counter tax lien certificates. It's only a 15-minute video where you can watch it and you can get an amazing education from the world's foremost expert, and you can even get a chance to learn more from him because he teaches this as a business. And I'm telling you, if you're going to get into this business, you have to learn from someone, and this is the guy to do it. So go watch that Spill the Guts video by clicking the link below. And also you'll see a link to my list of tax lien states. So I put that list together for you. I'm an attorney. I do that research. I buy tax liens, so I know all about this. I put it there for you so that you can get a list of places that you can do this. But don't miss that video interview with the world's foremost guru. That is the thing you really need to get to. So this is Attorney Bob Diamond. Thanks for being here. Click on those links down below, and good luck with your investing.